Getting one of these episodes is never really a good sign. Uh, but, we should keep hope. Let's give some context, shall we? So, this week's episode of YGO Sevens was a recap episode, just as we got one. Not all that long ago. What was it, like right after UO showed up with fusions, I think? Somewhere like that. And, I was willing to be a little more gracious with that one because we weren't getting these regularly. The fact that we now have gotten one not long after, and if you all remember, we spent a big chunk of brains, like every dozen episodes or so, we'd get a shitty recap episode. So to see us get one again so soon kind of makes you worry. We might be regressing a little bit. Now, if we are to be realistic for a second, we're not in the same situation as we were with Vrains. If you follow the news at all, you know that Japan is constantly changing COVID policies and going in and out of lockdowns and having this problem and this issue and that issue with many different things. And the anime industry has been struggling and dealing with it, with different shows getting delayed, moved around, shows having noticeable quality drops. The big one a lot of people noted was that My Hero Academia's most recent season used a lot more stock footage, particularly in the first arc, than they had in the past. And this is most likely due to constantly having to change and adapt with the coming times. It wouldn't shock me if, part of the reason Studio Pierrot put Black Clover on God knows how long a hiatus was because it was too much to deal with an anime with that kind of schedule in the current situation. Now again, this is all speculation. Even the couple of the statements I just made are technically speculation, but I think it is most likely that that is the reason we've gotten another recap so soon after the last one. It's just because it's just very complicated to get anything done in the world we're currently in. But we will now move past that and simply judge the episode as a single piece of media. And as a single piece of media, even with a big chunk of time being dedicated to recap, I still had a good time with this. First and foremost, the way the episode starts. You see the Goha siblings having to clean up after the insanity that was the end of last week's episode. That's pretty funny, just seeing them having to be like normal people doing normal goofy things, like having to clean up a dried mutated curry or whatever the fuck. That's just kind of a fun, light little opening, and they make Yuo leave for the rest of the episode, where we find out he has nothing on his calendar, blah blah blah. He, of course, naturally goes to the same town that everything's going in, and he's just, on a swing, depressed, and kind of annoyed. And you know what? I kind of dig that. I dig the fact that this guy is humanized and presented as a character. One of my real big issues with all the Vrains recaps was that they were so minimalistic and just nothing fucking going on besides recap, when you could have used that time to, give characters the spotlight, show them off in different ways, give us different sides of their personality, show them being laid back. This one, like the last one, does that. We see a Yuo who's not in the middle of an evil plan, who's not trying to fuck over other characters or gain more power. I do like the little bit where he's like, they don't know I have a new plan yet. That felt like a funny little joke of of course he's gonna come up with another dumb scheme. There's no way he's learned his lesson. But yeah, no, that's kind of nice. And then Roman shows up, which makes me think the whole point of doing the episode the way they did it was just to get Roman back in her fucking fetish outfit. Fake Khalid meter! Fake Khalid meter! Hell, it's even a magical girl outfit! Something is wrong! We must save this 11-year-old child from the internet, damn it! But yeah, no, so Roman and Gakudo show up, and again, that's a different set. I mean, again, I think I brought this up in the last one. Having no of the main two characters, being Yuga and Luke, not having them around and just focusing on other characters is just kind of a welcome change of pace. And Roman's voice actress is clearly having a fucking ball just playing this over-the-top magical girl nonsense. And Gakudo's actor seems to be having a lot of fun too, playing almost sort of like her weird manager. It's fun. It's fun seeing three characters you don't expect to ever be in the same room together all of a sudden have to like be bouncing off each other and working off each other, and just all of this is just really fun to watch. I like how Roman's like sort of like she's almost doing this as an excuse to get free snacks and stuff from Yuo, and that's all a lot of fun. And then of course we get our one bit of plot for the episode. They're like, well, is today your birthday? And he's like, of course not, wait, it is! And we get a little clip of something to come. I like that. We'll talk about that a bit more at the end. But yeah, and then the rest of the episode turns into, when they're not showing recap, is based around the idea of getting him to be able to interact with his siblings so he can properly both make up with them and be thankful that they're celebrating his birthday. When was the last time you saw that with a Yu-Gi-Oh! Antagonist? Like, let's be real here. There was never an episode of Reigns where, like, Revolver went out with everyone to get lunch. There wasn't an episode of Arc 5 where, like, Yuya had to help Reiji do his laundry. I know these are silly, but my point is, I like seeing different things like this and characters interact and all the fun, silly ways Roman gets Yuo to say thank you. And all that's fun, and I like that you get this insight into his personality and who he is as a character. Like, this is someone who, maybe he's not really evil, maybe he's just petty and stuck up and self-centered, and he's just the youngest of a bunch of siblings who he just kind of maybe wants to be taken seriously or be kind of like maybe get out of their shadow. All this just humanizing scenes I think is really fun, and I enjoy that kind of thing. Like, look, maybe I go a little easy on this show sometimes, and maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, but I just feel like even when it's at its kind of lowest points, like bad recap episodes or tying up a plot line that's going nowhere, it's at least fucking trying to give you something you weren't expecting. But yeah, no, so then Yuo goes back to the base. I think it was really funny. They had the little cameo from the other student president. He goes back to the base, and they make him play out this goofy scene from last week with saving the beauty Roman, who this time is Gakudo. I think that took me a minute, and Roman is playing Gakudo, which still feels very fake Khalid meter to me. But yeah, and then it turns out it was for his birthday, and they weren't just fucking around with him. And I like that when he thought he was being messed with, he started to tear up, and it kind of felt genuine. Like, he really was believing his siblings who don't normally do anything for him were kind of going to be nice to him. And I like the creative way they used taking off those fucking stupid masks. We even saw this episode, they're not hooked up to anything, but they just disappear. But yeah, no, I like that. Just like, everyone's got the masks off. They're eating, they're happy, they're smiling, they're having fun. It's insinuated they don't do this. No, they flat out say they don't do this a lot. And so seeing that they get that, I think is nice. And then we end the episode off again with that quick little flash of Yuo just being like, why did I forget? And that's a nice way to then segue us into the next arc. Hopefully, if you're going to show that off as a bit of seriousness, we can finally get a little more seriousness, because the comedy is starting to grate on me a little bit, like I said last week. But yeah, overall, I like this. I like that it was trying, that it was interesting, that it wanted to be fun, that even if it wanted to show you recap, it wanted to do it in a way that was more entertaining than just a bunch of characters talking about the plot. It clearly just wanted to show off waifus and shit. But yeah, no, that was this week's YGO Sevens. Just real fun, creative character stuff. Tell me what you thought about it below. And as for the TCG question of the week, today we learned we're getting a Dino Waifu archetype. That's right. You don't have to be a scaly to want to fuck these dinosaurs. So let's go full on stupid, since we literally had an episode where they stuck a girl in a magical girl outfit. If you had to pick one weird random thing for them to turn into a waifu archetype, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Does that now, what would you go with? We've had like Beast Warrior ladies, Magician ladies, now we have Dinosaur ladies. Personally, and this is just me, and maybe it's because I keep seeing clips of that one VTuber everywhere, I kind of think it would be funny if we had a Beast Warrior archetype that was just cute girls as pets. I know it's stupid. Maybe I'm a degenerate. I'm definitely a degenerate. But I want it. So yeah, tell me that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week where it looks like Yuga is just going to be working for the bad guys now. Because Yuga.